Hi everybody. I'm going to show you this today how you can cook your Egyptian walking onions, use them in a dish, and also replant them. So here we go. I went out and I pulled a couple of walking onions. See, they do have a little bulb on the bottom, and these started walking. I mean, as you can see, they had onions started there. Now those are kind of immature right there, so you would not want to replant those. But these that have turned like the red color on the outside, you can go ahead and replant those right now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pop those little, see, because that one's already started sprouting. You can go ahead and replant those. Let me get something to put them in. Just something so they don't roll in the floor. But actually, you know, even those, they've sprouted, you can plant them. All of these little ones have got little sprouts. See that? They're sprouting new onions. So you can replant those. Just pop them right off. You can break the tops of them a little bit. Like those. See, they make a cluster. And I've got lots of clusters of walking onions out there. That I need to harvest. Now I'm just going to break the little tops off of those. But I've got quite a few little onions right there that are already sprouted to make more onions. So, you know, you can harvest your walking onions to eat, and you can also replant them. So I'm going to get this off of my counter. Put them in my little compost pan there. But it's almost like cooking a spring onion. So this way, I mean, if you plant Egyptian walking onions, you'll never run out of onions really, because you can always plant those little bulbs or you can eat them. I choose to replant mine. So the older the onion, I may want to pull up if they've been in the ground for several years. And then keep replanting the little bulbs that come up that they produce. That way you can keep onions all the time. onions. You can eat the green part and you can eat the bulb. And like I said, you can replant the little bulbs. So, whoo, that started to burn my eyes. Now, what I'm going to do, I don't think I need to cut up any more over here. I'm going to move the camera over to this side. If my eyes will quit burning from those onions. Woo! Turn this on and I'm gonna put a little bit of oil in my pan. Because what I'm going to do is I'm going to saute these onions right in my pan. I'm going to add a little bit of shredded cabbage that I had. I thought I had a head of cabbage. I didn't. But I had a bag of the shredded cabbage for coleslaw. And it does have a little bit of carrot in it, but that's okay. We're going to put that in there as well. And we're just going to cook that a little bit. Saute it so it's about maybe half done. In the meantime, I've got my bowl. I'm going to get a little bit of flour. Well, if I can get hold of my scoop. I'm going to put about a cup of flour in there. And my scoop is a half cup. Boy, I tell you what, if you need to open your sinuses up, just get you some onions and start cutting them. Now I've got 2 eggs over here. I'm going to add the 2 eggs to my flour, my cup of flour. And all my eggshells go in my compost, or I dry them and crumble them up and use them as a deterrent for worms that get around my plants. We'll put just a little bit of oil in there. A little bit of cold water. Just enough so I can get it mixed up and it makes kind of like a paste. I'm going to add a little bit of, oops, crushed garlic. And I didn't have my spices out. I'm going to add just about a spoonful of about a teaspoon of crushed garlic. And again, if you don't like garlic, don't put garlic in your dish. I'm going to put a little bit of garlic salt, not much. I'm going to put some onion powder. Oops, about to mess up. I want to shake it in there, not pour it in. Guess you can see the consistency of this. Sorry. It's kind of like pasty, doughy, not real runny. I've got some little bit of creamed potatoes over here. I'm going to put about a cup of that in there. That should be about a cup. And you can do that with any leftover potatoes, stewed potatoes, creamed potatoes, any of it. What I did with my I thought I had this open, but I didn't. I'm going to add just a couple of shakes of Parmesan cheese. Now, if you have it, if you don't, that's okay too. Just don't add any cheese. I'm not putting much in there. And have that on relatively low heat, because you want it to cook, not get too brown and burn. See, I'm just mashing I'm putting those potatoes right in my flour mixture. With that little bit of Parmesan cheese in there. You want the cabbage and the onions to wilt down a tiny bit. And if they get a little brown, that's okay. You just don't want to burn them. If you have more cabbage, you can add more cabbage. this is something you can do with onions, potatoes, carrots, even out of your garden. Cabbage leaves, if you don't have heady cabbage, you can get some of the more tender of your cabbage leaves, put them in a blender, shred them up, throw them right in your pan, brown them, or cook them down till they get a little soft. And you can do the same thing with those. So but you want that cabbage a little soft because it takes a while for that to cook before you add to your mixture. And I looked at the forecast for next week. By the end of the week, it's going to be up at like to 107 for several days. No rain, y'all. I mean, I just don't know. I thought sure we would have had a break by now and we would have had a little bit of rain. But we're into about 2 months with no rain here. And this extreme heat is just stifling my poor garden. And nobody could have predicted this was going to happen either. And as this sits, you know, that flour kind of rises a little bit and it'll get thicker. And that's kind of what you want it to do. If you got lumps in your potatoes, you can just squish them out with your whisk. Now we're going to turn that heat off. We're going to put our mixture right in our batter. And we're just going to stir it up. It comes out almost like a pancake mixture. If you want yours a little thicker than that, feel free to make it thicker. Now we're simply gonna heat our pan back up. Now that was basically cabbage, onions, about a cup of cooked potato mashed, a cup of flour, a little bit of oil, garlic, And you notice I've switched to a bigger spoon so I don't have to put it in by several spoonfuls. I can use one spoonful and that will be sufficient. Some of my cabbage is kind of stringy, but that's okay. But my pan will hold 3 of those. Pretty good sized ones. One thing I forgot was to put my pan under there to help distribute the heat more evenly. It's a way to use leftover mashed potatoes or any type of a baked potato, or basically any kind of potato that you've got cooked you can put in this. And I'm going to eat some of these with my pork chop and my Swiss chard and my candied potatoes that I had from last night, because I'll eat that again tonight. So I'll just add this to my dish, and I'll have several to eat tomorrow and the next day. Whoops. I don't like using this one. Huh. I may have to. Oops, I jumped the gun. It could have got her a little browner before I flipped it. So I'll leave the other ones there and let them cook a little bit. I can always flip them back over. I'm going to cook them on about medium to high heat. You don't want to cook them too fast, but you don't want to cook them too slow either. And all you do is, just brown them good. And they should be done. That cabbage and everything should be done because you've already partially cooked it before you put it in the mixture. And this is some good eating right here, y'all. See, this is one reason I don't make a lot of bread, is because a lot of times my bread is already in some of the dishes that I make. So I don't make a bread on the side. Just have to cook a little. I need to go check my mailbox to see what I got out there other than maybe another bill coming in. You know, it always seems like the bills find your mailbox. Some of your other mail might get lost, but usually the bills find their way to your mailbox. Raise that just a tiny bit and put it back a little ways. People always tell me, well, we want to see who's doing the cooking. I don't know why. I'm not that much to look at. Wanted to see how brown it was getting. They smell so good. I can smell the onion, I can smell the potato, I can smell the cabbage. It smells good, y'all. There's a lot of different ways you can make these little cakes. But cooking the cabbage and the onions and the garlic and all that stuff before you mix it in with your flour brings out a really good taste in your onions and your cabbage and all the other before you mix it in. That's one thing that makes the dish so good, is to saute those onions and cabbage and a little bit of seasoning before you mix it in. But I wanted to show you, this is a way you can cook your walking onions. I mean, you can use your walking onions just like any other onion. You can use the tops basically for your green onion garnish. You can use the white bulb part just like you would any other. Or like I did, I just chopped the whole onion up, the top and the bottom, and put it in this. And then like I said, I've got a little handful of onion bulbs that I can replant, and I'm going to replant those out there. I may put them in that little swimming pool where I got Swiss chard this year. I'm not sure. I'm still thinking of where I'm going to put them, because I've got a lot more to harvest out there. I've got a lot more little walking onion bulbs to harvest. Yep, they're getting there, y'all. That's about the brownness I want. This one right here. That one's looking good. And y'all might say I fry a lot of stuff, but I use a good oil. I use either grapeseed oil, olive oil, you know, an oil that has no cholesterol, that's basically healthy for you to cook with. That's why I don't deep fry anymore. It's too expensive to deep fry in grapeseed oil or olive oil. If I get anything deep fried, usually I'm eating out somewhere, which is not very often. Let them cook just a little bit more, and we'll add more to the pan. I'll probably eat a couple of those now because I haven't had lunch. And see, I'm a creature of habit. I just got used to using a fork to turn everything, and that's what I continually use. Good. And I probably got enough in there for 3 more that size. Got them a little close together, but they'll separate. But aren't they looking good? I mean, I think they're looking real good. I mean, this is one of those instances where cabbage and onions are better than meat. I've seen that advertisement so many times, it's unreal. I wanted to get these cooked before it heats up too awfully hot this afternoon. Oh goodness, another hot day, y'all. Supposed to be about 104 today. We need a break. We've got to have a break from this heat. Got to have a break. We can't handle much more of this. I mean, y'all seen my yard. I mean, it usually happens every year. My whole yard is fried. So I don't care about grass. I don't care about watering it, because if you water it, try to keep it alive, it's just going to boil it, cook it. But it's not usually this hot for this long with no rain. I mean, I guess it's the ozone layer or whatever they're talking about. Global warming. I think everybody all across the country said this is like one of the hottest summers they've had. Which I can't imagine getting any hotter than Texas. Which I know Arizona does, where my brother is. It gets usually a little hotter than here, sometimes about the same. I can turn that up just a tiny bit. Now, some variations, you can add bell pepper, chopped bell pepper to this if you like that, chopped bell pepper. So a lot of different ways you can do this. Like I think one recipe that I cooked months ago, I even put kale, chopped up kale in my patty. But I don't think I put cabbage in there. This is just cabbage and onion and a little bit of carrots. A little bit different variation. Just a little bit different variation. I mean, you can make these smaller. You can make a whole big frying pan size one. I like to do an individual patty myself. What's the temperature today in your neck of the woods? Let me know in the comments and where you're at. Because it's another hot one here today. Extremely hot. I tell you, when you're on a strict budget, you come up with a lot of variations to cook a lot of different recipes. You know, you put your own twist to them a lot of times. Maybe you can come up with a recipe of your own. Well, I'm going to go ahead and add the rest of this because I don't have that much. Add a little to each one, I guess. Can y'all believe it? My dish drainer is empty today, all except for my utensils in the little strainer. That's a new one for me, isn't it? Usually it's full. Full of something. So that's what you can do with 2 eggs, cup of flour, cup of mashed potatoes or cooked potatoes, about a cup of shredded cabbage with carrots, a little bit of garlic, about a half a cup of onions, seasoning, and you've got yourself something good to eat. Oops, I almost let that one get away with me. But we're in the home stretch, y'all. It's the last 3. I said that made 9 good size patties. You add one of those to your main dish and that's probably all you could eat. Or you could make it a main dish and eat several of them. I tell you, when times are tough, you have to get creative. You make dishes out of whatever you have. You make do with what you've got on hand. Keep your grocery bill down. I usually buy potatoes by the 10-pound bag because it's cheaper. You pay a little more if you buy it by the 5-pound bag. And usually that 10-pound bag of potatoes lasts me the whole month or more. I usually buy onions, the yellow onions, the bulbs, by, what is it, a 3-pound bag? Unless I've got plenty in the garden, which I didn't have this year. I mean, I got plenty of walking onions, but not just the plain red or the yellow onions. I try to buy enough flour that will last me for the whole month. Because I found the less trips I make to the store, the less I spend. If I make a list, get what's on my list, try to stay away from adding stuff to my cart that is not on my list, I spend less money. Now, unless I find something that's on sale and it's such a good price you can't resist, then I might go to that store and check that sale out. Especially if I needed to stock up on meats and stuff like that. But in my freezer right now mostly consists of, I have calf liver, I have chicken, I have, I think I'm completely out of fish. I need to get some fish. I've got some hamburger, or what I call hamburger, ground beef. Like I said, I got more Boston butt in there that I can take out and cook for meals. So I buy, I try to stay away from the expensive cuts of meat because I can't afford it. You know what, I was going to put one of those on top because they're not quite as hot. I'm shorty and I don't like reaching over the stove to get dishes. I wanted to show you that. Look at that. Don't that look good? Y'all take a bite. That is so good, y'all. It might have needed a little bit more salt, but other than that, perfect. So, and it would have helped to add just a little bit more cabbage, but I didn't have that much, so I put in what I had. But that is good right there, y'all. So with that, please like, share, and subscribe to my videos. Y'all have a blessed day, and I'll see you on my next one. Bye now.